In this video, I just want to talk about the auto optimization setting inside of Volume DSP. So when you're setting up your campaign and you get to the last stage after you've added your creatives in, there's this option here for auto optimization at the top. And so this is optional. And basically what it is, it's like an algorithm based learning AI type thing, which is going to auto optimize your campaign. Now, I don't think you should put this on when you first set up your campaigns. I like to put my campaign out first of all and do my manual optimizing where I look at what's performing and kill anything which is wasting money. Because when you're doing it that way, you can actually see how well your images are doing. You can see what your click-through rate is for your landing page. You can see the cost per click that is costing you to get a click through to the offer just on an open campaign without any optimization. You can see that straight away. I think that's the best place to start. Then once you've actually looked at that, after you've left it for a little while, maybe you've got some conversions coming in and you're starting to see, well, my top performing images have got this click-through rate, my landing pages have got this click-through rate, and I'm getting a cost per click through to the offer on the best path of the funnel around about this rate. You can kind of see what you're going to need to be profitable. So then once you've got that bit of information and you can see that what the most profitable path is starting to form of your funnel, then you can come in to use auto optimization, and you can basically tell this your goal for a certain optimization goal that you want to add to it. So here, I'll just show it you. It'll make more sense when I actually show you. So you turn on the optimization here at the top, and then there's three things you can optimize your campaign on automatically. There's the ICTR, there's the cost per view, and there's the cost per click. Now this is why I think you should do it manually first of all, without any auto optimization, so you can see kind of what average cost per click you're getting, or you can see your average ICTR or the ICTR of your best image. And then what you can do is come here and with that information you can give it a goal. Because if you come here and try and set this up right at the start before you've even tested out this campaign, most people might come here and say, well, I'm going to set the ICTR and I'm going to set it to be 5%, because why would you not set your ICTR to be sky high? You might as well try that. And that doesn't really work because you're not going to get an ICTR of 5%. So it's always good to see what's you're already getting. Choose probably something around what you're already getting on one of your best images, say, and use that to give it to the auto optimizer to optimize based on that, if that makes sense. Now, there's different goals that you can optimize on. And basically they all need different amount of traffic, because obviously the easiest one to do is the ICTR, because that only needs clicks onto your images, and that's the first thing that happens. So it can start actually optimizing straight away. The one that I like to choose when I do it is cost per click, which is the final click going through to the offer page at the end. Now, if you've run your little campaign for a little while, a few days, a day or two, and you've started to see some conversions coming in, and you've seen some clicks coming in, and you know that one path of the funnel is profitable when you've looked into your campaign and you've started to look at each of the element, and you think, when it goes through this image and through to this landing page and then through to the offer, I'm getting an EPC of, say, $2. So then with that bit of information, you'd go, well, ideally what we want to try and aim for is maybe a cost per click, a CPC of $1. So then you could come in here and go, well, actually, I want to set my CPC for the overall campaign as $1. So what it'll do, the auto optimization will set to work, and it goes much deeper than what you could do on a personal level. So I like to manually optimize my images and optimize my landing pages and split test them and turn things off. I also like to manually do it with placements as well, and I'll show you in the next video how we actually do that with auto rules as well. But there's so much more information that this tool can find, and what it can do, it can actually look at the minute information and say, even though this certain placement or this certain location or this certain landing page isn't profitable, well, actually it can go really deep and go, well, it is profitable when someone clicks on this certain placement using a certain browser mobile. So what it can do, it can change the bid on that certain browser mobile, or maybe turn off other browser mobiles automatically, and it kind of distributes your budget in a more clever way. Now, I would say that it's not always 100%. I didn't always use this. I sometimes just run my campaigns without this and manually get into the data myself. But it is worth testing it out and see whether it does get you any better results. One thing to note is that they do split the traffic between optimized and non-optimized, so you will be able to see in your campaign, if you click on the optimized tab inside your campaign, you can see the split between the two, and you can actually see whether it is benefiting you to actually optimize to this level. Because what you can do sometimes is maybe over optimize, in the sense that you are maybe going too ambitious with your cost per click, because obviously everyone wants a cost per click that's 50 cents, because that's going to be super profitable, but that might strangle your campaign so much where it actually can't get that data, so then it goes for the worst placements. So it's good to try it out without optimizing it, and also test this out as well, and you might be able to make some areas even more profitable. You can, in the next video, what I'm going to do is go into more detail about blacklisting placement and this auto pausing rules, which is a slightly different tool which you can use to also turn off non-performing placements as well. In this video, I just want to go over in more detail about blacklisting placement. Now, I've already spoken about this a little bit already in this section, because by now you should realize that while you're optimizing your funnel, you should still be keeping an eye on the placement, and if any of them spend at least 1 times the payout of the offer, then you should kill it. There are a few more rules which you can follow for killing placements, which I've slightly mentioned, I think, but I think it'd be quite good just to go through them in a list now, so you can keep an eye out for these. I was going to include this in the next section, because these rules I usually follow more when I'm doing a run of network campaign and I'm targeting a lot of placements at once. But I think they're still good to include at the start, even if you especially if you're on a smaller budget and you want to make sure that you're not wasting any money on any bad placements. One thing I would bear in mind is that it may be not a good idea to go too strict with blacklisting placements at the start, before you've actually got your funnel locked in, because it could be an issue with your funnel. Like, one of the placements might have received a lot of traffic from one of the landing pages which isn't converting. So it's a good idea to try and get your funnel locked in a little bit sooner before you go too deep in with the placement blacklisting. But you still can be doing it all at once, and if you do spot any of these things that I'm going to go through now, you can get rid of them early on rather than wasting money. So here's my loose rules for blacklisting placements. It changes depending on how confident I am about an offer, or how confident I am about a whitelist that I've got, because I've got my own whitelists that I know convert for certain types of offers. I'm more confident with them, so I might be more lenient. Whereas if I'm running a run of network campaign, I'm more strict with these rules. So you can kind of take them as you like, and it depends on the budget that you've got as well. But obviously the first one, which you should know by now, is that if a placement or a widget is spent at over 1 times the payout and no conversion, we can get rid of that. As I've mentioned earlier, if you are on a smaller budget, you could even go like, if it's spent 75% of the payout, you might want to kill it early on. If you've got a bigger budget and you want to give it a bit more room, it could be like 1.2 times the payout with no conversion, and then you kill it then. And just to bear in mind as well, I'm talking about placements, or widgets these are called, on a lot of the ad networks, especially on Rev Content. It's a widget. Now, if you are on a really strict budget, what you can do is you can base these rules on the actual sites. So a website usually has like a number of widgets, maybe 4 widgets, and each of those widgets you would apply these rules to. But if you're on a smaller budget and you just want to kill things sooner, so you're not wasting any money and try and get to a profit much sooner, then you can apply these rules to sites. I've done that in the past when I first started out. It does mean that you might lose out on some placements which may have been profitable later on, but it does save money if you're on a tighter budget, so just bear that in mind. The next rule is that if a widget or a placement has had 50 visits and 0 landing page clicks, so 50 people have clicked on the advert and 0 people have actually clicked on the landing page, clicked through the landing page to the offer, then I will kill that widget. Another rule is more than 10 visits and the cost per view is greater than $1.80. So if 10 people click on the advert, and then it works out that the cost per view is actually $1.80, so that's actually like $18, then that is something that I would just go get rid of that straight away. Another one is impressions greater than 10,000 and less than 5 visits, that should say. So if the impressions are, because we're paying cost per 1,000 impressions, if it's 10,000 impressions and we've had less than 5 clicks, that'll be a very low ICTR, then I kill that and just get rid of that widget and turn it off. And the last one is if the landing page clicks is higher than 10, so if the landing page has had 10 clicks going through to the offer, then and the cost per click is 4 times the average, so say for instance that this campaign seems to be getting around about a $2 cost per click through to the offer, and this is 4 times 2, which is $8, then I'm like, I'll probably kill that. And that's just, I just base that on when I'm looking at it. It's usually around about 4 times. I think I'm going to get rid of that. So those are the main rules that you should be looking out for when you're checking out your campaign and looking at the widgets. And if any of these stick out and you see that one of the placements ticks one of these boxes, then you can just blacklist it, get rid of it. So I'll show you in a second. Basically, you can just turn it off from inside the campaign, and then what you can do is actually add it to a blacklist, so it will save that into a blacklist. So then next time you're running a run of network campaign, it will never even touch that. It won't never show an advert to that widget. So it's good for these ones here if like it looks like bot traffic. So if something's had 50 visits and 0 landing page clicks, it might be some kind of bot. Something's not right. So you'll never even want to run any adverts to that. So you can add that to a blacklist. Or you could just turn it off in that campaign if you think it might just be because of the certain campaign. It might work for another genre, another angle in the future. You might not want to write it off altogether. But what you can do is you can do it manually like this, or you can actually use a tool inside of Volume which will do it for you and turn them off. Now I'll show you how this works now. It's when you're setting up the campaign, it's here. So this is as you go through the steps of the campaign, and the creatives are there. And then on the final stage, I think I showed you this when I was setting up the campaign. But this is the auto pausing. So you set the rules. So those rules that I've just talked about, then you set them, and then you can basically get it to turn off the widgets or different areas. I'll show you here. So you can, they're my rules now, but let's just create a new rule. So you can apply the rule to different things. So it could be a site or it could be a widget ID. So when the widget ID, when it reaches 1,000 impressions or 5 visits, this is when it will be paused once these conditions are met. So it's only in beta at the moment, so you've got to keep checking on it. I think I've seen a few things where it's turned it off when it shouldn't have turned it off, or it's left it running when it should have turned it off. But overall it does do the job if you want a more hands-off approach. I still think that you should be coming into your stats on a daily basis, especially at the start, to check out and look for these things yourself, because that's how you're going to become a good media buyer and you're going to become a good native ads affiliate, because you want to be able to spot these things yourself. But I know that people like to automate these things in case they're asleep or they can't do it. So come here and you go to conditions, and then you can just choose the different thing here. So let's say, for instance, we'll do the 10,000 impressions. So if impressions number is greater than, and then you just put it in here, 10,000. That's 10,000, isn't it? Yeah. And then you add the condition, and the visits number is less than 5 it will basically pause this, and we can get it to run like for the last 24 hours, and it will run the rule every hour, and then we can click apply, and then it will add that rule there. And you can have different rules if you want to be more strict and play around with them. But those are the good rules, like the base rules, which will help you get rid of widgets that are wasting you any money. Also, just to add, when you use the auto pausing tool inside the campaign, it will just pause them for that campaign. But if you want to do it manually, or you want to add them to a blacklist, so in the future you don't target them with different campaigns, I'll just quickly show you how you do it here. So this is basically campaign that I'm running at the moment. This is one which has spent some money. I've turned this off. So this is how you could turn it off. If you're not happy with a widget and you want to do it manually, you can just turn them off inside here. If you want to add it to a whitelist, a blacklist, you just click on the little tick icon there and click add to list, and then you could just create a blacklist, and it could just be Sonus blacklist, no conversions, and then literally click save. And in future, when you create a campaign, you could do a run a network campaign, and you might not want to target any of those that you've blacklisted because you know they don't perform well, and you just choose that blacklist from the list when you're setting it up. Now I'm going to go into more detail about blacklists and whitelists in the next section, but that's just how you do it if you want to know how to do it at this stage.